Hello guys, and welcome back to another Cavcast. Today we are back here in the wonderful world of TerraTech. We're playing the Wing It Challenge once again to build ourselves something really awesome. And that thing, as you can tell by the title of the video, is a stunt plane, which is pretty exciting. I hope you guys will agree. Now, there are a few things that we need to start building this vehicle. I've done various different tests, and I'm going to show you a few different designs that you can use, but we're going to make the more basic ones to start off with, and then we're going to move on to the more advanced ones as we go. The basics of this, though, are that the propeller is always going to be a single propeller at the front of the plane, and then we're going to carry on from there with different designs. Now, I found that there are a couple of different ways that we can do this to make the most maneuverable plane, and essentially what we need to do is either use one of these up here like this, these two wings at the front, and then these two wings over here at the back, or there are different designs that we can do using just these smaller wings. Now, obviously, as I'm sure you guys appreciate, if you're watching this video, you should be onto some slightly more advanced mechanics in the world of TerraTech, and you understand, hopefully, that everything in this game has a weight to it. Essentially, we are looking at various different vehicles that can do various different maneuvers through the power of the game's design engine. When we're talking about the different wings, obviously the slightly larger ones that we have at the front do have a slightly larger mass, which means that they do make the vehicle slightly slower, I guess, in a way. But as you can see, it's incredibly maneuverable. We can do some really nice moves, and usually get ourselves back into a nice situation and get moving again pretty quickly. The only problem, obviously, as you can see, is the taking off part is a little bit on the difficult side, but fortunately, because the plane has a very slight upward incline, actually it's quite a major upward incline, the vehicle, with me just holding shift, will actually backflip and keep itself going in the upward position. So we can pretty much take off no matter where we are, which is a good design, and it works well, but there are better ways of running a vehicle like this. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take us back to the main build area and show you an alternative way of doing this vehicle, is actually to move the rear wings and the rear rudder back all to the ends, so they're actually just ever so slightly hanging off. Now, what you'll notice if we do this is the vehicle does move a little bit differently, in that the upward incline that it had is a little bit more gentle, not significantly, but the good news is that we're able to still relatively simply do these basic maneuvers, and it's not too complicated, which is obviously pretty cool. The next thing that we need to do is just quickly demonstrate you another type of another type of plane that I can get. But my game's had a little bit of a crash here. I'm getting this problem at the moment in this current build, where my keyboard just decides to die every now and again. I think it might be something to do with sticky keys. But I'll be back in 2 seconds, guys, and I'll change the design to the final with these parts that you can go for. And I'm back. Although it was no time at all for you guys, I am back once again. The other build that you can do, just to finish off what we're doing here, is move these wings here back slightly as well, to take everything back to the rear of the plane, which changes the point of lift. Because as I'm sure you guys know, if you've watched any of my how to fly tutorials, which are in the playlist for TerraTech on my channel, you have 3 methods of kind of math that you need to do to make sure that your plane can fly. The center of thrust, which is where the actual propulsion is happening on the vehicle. In our example here, we're actually being pulled by a propeller, so the center of thrust doesn't really apply. But you also have the center of mass and the center of lift. The center of lift needs to be slightly in front. Is it No, slightly behind. The center of lift needs to be slightly behind the center of mass, and therefore you get this lovely kind of upward incline. This is a really nice plane for sort of basic flying. If anybody out there wants to build something that's kind of really nice and straightforward to use, get some good speed out of it, 180 miles an hour, it's just a nice vehicle to fly, really. And once you do turn off the engines, it is very gentle, and we'll just kind of saunter down into the ground, and we can just ever so slightly just maneuver it and just touch down. There we go. Fantastic. It's a good plane. It's a good starter vehicle, because as I said before, the best thing about this, although it doesn't have the most acceleration off the ground as you might want, it does get off the ground really, really easily, which is a wonderful way to fly, because as you can see, it just flies fantastically. Now, in my testing of this, there's actually another way of doing it, which is slightly, actually, it's a bit scary that this is able to fly. But this what I'm building for you guys now is actually the most optimal flying machine I have been able to build in this game so far. As you can see, there's nothing of it. It literally is just using much less parts. Now, this vehicle that we're flying now, actually does change the dynamics of our flying ever so slightly, because as you can see, it has a slightly downward incline, which means that the center of lift is in front of the center of mass. I think that's correct. Please feel free to correct me if I'm wrong in the chat. But as you can see, it still is absolutely insane for being able to be like maneuverable and stuff. And because there's less weight to it, because we managed to use the lighter wings and also have taken off one block on the back, it's actually even quicker, which is, I mean, crazy. But I'll show you guys. If we just get the speed on the propeller back up again, just take off ever so slightly, take it right up here into the sky. Come fly with me on a mountain ship for two, and then just sort of fly straight down as quickly as we can. 115 miles an hour is pretty good. It adds a bit of speed to our fantastic voyage here. It's a nice way of flying, essentially, is what I'm saying. We can do some very minor changes here to actually be able to manipulate it a little bit more. If we move the rudder here into a more centralized position on the vehicle, it'll actually fly a bit nicer. But once again, this keyboard bug has happened again, and now I just can't control anything. If anybody knows how to fix this, please let me know. Oh, it drives me insane. But I'll be back in 2 seconds, guys, once I fix this. And we're back. Oh dear, oh dear. Right, as you can see, this, I think, is essentially one of the smallest vehicles that you can actually make in this game, which is incredible. It does fly really nicely. If you want to make the center of lift slightly behind the center of mass to get that slight upwards incline, rather than this kind of very gentle downwards incline, there are a couple of things you can do. I just want to show you guys that, unfortunately, even if you change the position of the tail to here, it doesn't really make a difference. You can take it off completely, but it still has this downward incline. You can actually also, if you're feeling pretty cocky, which I was, but now I've dropped it, so I've got to go back for it. I dropped my rudder somewhere. Where is it? Come back to me. Oh dear. Oh god. I think we might have to abandon that and go get a fresh one. Oh dear, oh dear. You can actually put it on the back, but to be able to do this, you've really got to do this mid-flight, and it's really difficult to do. Because as you can see, you can't. I mean, you could try flying upside down, but it's just impossible. So what you need to do is put it on here, actually take off, which as you guys have seen me do. If we can actually just take off, nope. Okay, let's just push it a little bit more. See, now this is the very slight problem with the downward kind of trajectory. It just kind of pushes you in the wrong direction ever so slightly, but once you're in the air, it is absolutely fine. So we're going to just sort of push up again here, and there we go. We've put it on. So now we're flying like one of those cool Star Wars like vehicles. Oh, it's just hilarious. It wants to right itself. It really does. It's like flying like a jet fighter or something, because they're constantly off balance, and a computer i.e. me, is constantly trying to like write it and renovate it, and it's difficult. It's very difficult. But what we can do is, if we're good at flying, we should be able to just stay in the air ever so slightly and just keep it sort of flying. And the good thing is that if you do actually land, then it's very, very straightforward to sort of pop another one back on again on the vehicle. So it's not the end of the world if you do land. But what I'm going to just try and do here quickly for you guys, because it's quite a fun thing to do, is just come in and just grab... Oh, I missed. Damn. What a shame. What I can do, though, is I can just put this back on the top here and add a fresh one as well. We can put this one here, and then we can take... Because some of you guys might be wondering what this does if we put another one here. And it essentially is going to perform pretty much the same. Unfortunately, it doesn't have a significant benefit to the upwards or downwards thrust that I was... talking to you guys about, but it's a little tiny bit more steady. You can see it still has a downwards incline, but it is a bit steadier. And the cool thing as well is that it still has the great sort of barrel and stuff. So, stunt planes in TerraTech, very, very straightforward and actually really fun to fly, as you can see. They are awesome. The most basic one you can get, you can make out of 6 parts. Essentially, for those who are wondering for this final kind of question, whether or not you can fly one like this, I'm sure you could have answered the question yourselves, but it's very difficult. Very, very difficult. Essentially, you would have to move thrust and things to the rear of the plane, and you can fly like this. This is something that I have flown in the past, but essentially what it does is it really just struggles to get going, and I'll show you what happens once you do get going. You have to switch to shift, but it just doesn't quite want to get there. So let's just try one more time for you here. Okay, so now it's not interested in even trying here, and now my keyboard's stuck again. Oh dear. What a frustrating thing. What a frustrating thing. But it's all good, because as you can see, that is something that, I mean, if you were flying well, like if you, for some reason I can press escape, fine, but I just can't press anything on this screen. If you were a good flyer, then you will be able to take off with this, and it will work on this 5-part system. But actually, if you want to do any really good flying, this is not going to work for you. You want to have those second wings, because actually to be able to go up and down with this setup, increase and decrease your altitude, is very, very slow, because you've only got those 2 wings to support you, which is just not good enough. So anyway, thank you very much for watching, guys. I hope this has been useful for you to learn how to make stunt planes. They are fun. They are very, very fun. We should try to get a barrel roll challenge going to see how many we can do. Next time, guys, very excitingly, we're going to be doing something even more awesome. Well, I think it's even more awesome anyway. We're going to make a quadcopter. That's right, guys. We're going to make a quadcopter in TerraTech. Did you think it was possible? No, but it is. Stay tuned to find out how, guys. I'll see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye. You've been watching the Cafcast. We hope you have enjoyed the show. Don't forget to check out all of our other videos. Oh, and be sure to subscribe to us if you like what you see. That way I'll know to make more, and that you really like me. So, you've been watching the Cafcast. We hope you have enjoyed the show. Don't forget to check out all of our other videos.